Today's lesson essential question is, how do text features support the key details in a scientific text? So we are focusing on those text features today. You probably remember talking about them last week. And we're going to be identifying how they support the key details. Now we know that text features give us more information about the text. So they're extra features that tell us more about the topic of the text. And of course, you remember, a scientific text teaches us about a scientific topic. So again, text features support the information in the text. They give us extra information. We talked about captions last week. Now, captions are words under or beside an illustration or a photo that explain what we're looking at. So maybe we're reading a text about turtles, but we don't know what turtles look like, or we don't really know too much information about them. Well, we're going to look at the photo so we can get a better visualization, but then also underneath the photographs and the illustrations, we often find a caption that tells us what exactly we're looking at. You might see a graph or a diagram. You might also see headings. Now, we had quite a few headings this week and last week. Headings are words or short phrases that tell the topic or main idea of a section of text. So it's kind of like a little mini title for a section of the text. We have a lot of them this week, so we are going to point those out. Another text feature is a map. And last week we read about monarch butterflies, and there was a map that showed their migration pattern. So we were able to actually see on the map where they fly to in the winter and the summer. Again, we might see illustrations or photos. Sometimes when we're reading about something, it's hard to visualize if we've never seen it before. So those illustrations and photos really help us. You might also have a sidebar, which is extra information that's actually not part of the text, but it tells you more. And we do have one of those today also, so I'll be pointing that out. And then sometimes you might have a timeline. A lot of times you'll see timelines in historical texts because the timeline tells you dates, and in order it tells you the most important things that happened. So there will be a little sentence or two that just shows you those key details from the text and when they happened. So let's go back to Grow, Grow, Grow Your Boat, and let's talk about those text features. Before we even get started, I see the title is How to Grow a Pumpkin Boat, but as I look at, I've never seen a pumpkin boat, and I'm confused as how someone can ride in a pumpkin. I've seen pumpkins before, and I don't know how we could make them into a boat. Well, if I look at the very top of the page, there's a photograph that shows me those pumpkin boats. So pumpkin boats are probably something you've never seen before, but now we know what they look like and we can understand the text better by seeing that. I also see lots of headings. So I see this one says start with the seed. This one says add water. This one says give it extra care. This one says carve the pumpkin. And this one says paddle your boat. So I'm looking at these headings, and first of all, the headings tell me what I'm going to be reading about in that section. So I know this says start with a seed. I know that in this section, I'm going to be reading about planting a pumpkin seed, right? But I also want to point out these headings are telling me the sequence of growing a pumpkin. First, we start with the seed. Then we add water. Then we care for our pumpkin. After that, we carve our pumpkin. Last, we paddle our boat. So it's pretty cool because these headings are telling us what is in this section, but these headings are also telling us the sequence of the pumpkin's life cycle. Over here, what kind of text feature is this? We've talked about this one already. You probably said it's a photograph, and it is. It's a photograph. What do you see in the photograph? All right, you see a little boy with a gigantic pumpkin. How does this photograph help us understand the text better? Yeah, it helps us see how big these pumpkins really are. It helps us see where they grow, what they look like. And then who remembers what this would be called? This is called a caption, and the caption explains the picture. So it says it takes a lot of work to grow a pumpkin this big. Well, then I can look at the picture and know how big that pumpkin really is. One text feature that wasn't included in the lesson is keywords. Now, yesterday in your lesson, we talked about how to find the definition of the word hollow, and there were context clues that helped us figure out the definition of that word. Now, keywords are important words to the text. So they're important words to the text, and they're often highlighted or they're at least bold. And that helps us know that word is important to the text. You're going to be reading this text to somebody today in your family, and then you're going to be answering a question about the text features. So as you're reading with your family, you want to make sure that you're keeping an eye on these text features and you're using them to help you understand the text better.